Hello everybody, and welcome to my new series where I interview Leeds-based musicians, mostly, hopefully. Welcome to this video with my great friend Oliver Vawdrey.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So, Ol here is an amazing musician. So tell us a bit about yourself, your style, what instruments you play, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so first of all, hi. So my name's Oliver Vawdrey. I am a indie pop musician from Manchester, currently living in Leeds for university. I go to Leeds Conservatoire, and yeah, indie pop's very much my thing at the moment. I did start with indie rock and now developed into indie pop thanks to having a trumpet on board now. It's a great little extra unique thing to have, which I'm very thankful for. Samuel Pickett, thank you. So yeah, that's me basically.
So what kind of musicians, what kind of instruments do you play?
Oh, okay. So I think I was I was 12 years old when I first started playing guitar, and from there I just I remember my very first time playing guitar. My dad came back from a guitar lesson, and he just kind of showed me what he learnt in his 1 hour long guitar lesson, and I learnt in like 15 minutes. So he was probably a bit annoyed by that.
Oh.
But from there, we kind of looked at getting me guitar and then me guitar lessons, and I started teaching myself a little bit from there as well, just because I like to play so much. So guitar is very much my home in a way. And from there I kind of started playing around with piano as well, just because there's always piano somewhere in there, especially like in school and college and then uni. And I've been very much self-taught on that. Guitar, I had so many different guitar tutors and went from one to another so much. But piano I kind of enjoyed just learning my own way on that and applying that knowledge that I had from guitar. When I was about 17, I started singing, and I recorded my first track in Fallen Tower, and I listened back to it. I was like, okay, yeah, it sounds okay. Where's a singing teacher to help me? So I started going to a singing teacher from there, just because I wanted to feel better in my voice and more confident and be able to perform live, basically. I play bass guitar when I do my own demos, and I play drums a little bit, but I mostly play MIDI drums these days, just because like I don't have access to a kit unless I'm in uni, and I'm just kind of playing about just for the sake of it. I never have sat down and tried to learn bass guitar, drums that much. Bass guitar is very much similar to guitar. Like I enjoy writing on bass as well sometimes, just because you get a different way of playing. And then drums are just kind of, I know what I need to know to show people what I want them to play, I guess. At least for them to get the idea and then develop it in themselves.
Brilliant. Yeah, because especially if you're writing your own things, you need to kind of have an awareness of how instruments work.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of the most underrated things, to be able to know how to play a bit of everything, because then you can understand that they all work together. Like bass and drums, they are the stone, they are the rock of a good song. Like if they're not working well together, it doesn't matter what you go over the top of it. In my opinion, they've got to be driving that song in the way that you want them to. Whether that's like you're you're a fighter jet, just trying to get from one place to another as fast as you can. You're just going at it, or you're just kind of having a nice little stroll in the car, just kind of being peaceful. Yeah, they've got to work together so well. And everything else sits on top of them from there.
And I'm sure a lot of the musicians you listened to as a child, or the music you were introduced to, has helped you develop your sound. So is there any big notable characters that have helped you develop your sound?
So like when I was about 12 and I started properly getting into music, I did a lot of blues music. Before that I was surrounded by music, like in the car. My sister was a singer, and my dad loves like Stone Roses and Oasis, so I've been surrounded by that music since I was very young. But when I was about 12, I started getting into blues music thanks to my granddad. He got me into a guy called Joe Bonamassa, who, if you listen to my guitar playing and then you listen to his guitar playing, you'll be able to go, yeah, that's a Joe Bonamassa lick. Stop copying him. And also like people like Walter Trout in terms of blues music. I remember my very first gig was I just went to my granddad's house, and he was just sat in the living room. He went, "Do you want to go to a gig tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess." Who? He was like, and he just put a Carlos Santana like DVD on, and that was my first gig at the Manchester Arena. And that's another guitar player where you can pick out my playing from. Just so many little licks that I use all the time from him without even knowing. And that blues journey really went on until I was about 16, and I got to play some amazing gigs because of that, with Walter Trout and Danny Bryan, just to name a few. And then when I got to college, it's kind of that Manchester scene, and like going from a school where no one's necessarily into music to be going into a music production course where everyone's heavily into music. Like in my music class, I was that kid who knew everything. I'm sorry to say. I'm pretty sure I got like an A star, and like a music teacher loved me, I hope. And then going into college where you're just that one kid, you're surrounded by all those kids, and everyone has an opinion on what best music is, what music they listen to, what you should be listening to, what you sound like. So I got into indie rock then, and especially that Manchester scene, which I still love to this day. Then from there I came to uni. I listened to so different types of, like, any type of music. I'm pretty sure I've heard it at this point, whether it's like free jazz or Passenger, who's a nice soft acoustic artist, which I absolutely love. So yeah, very much like these days I'm very much just listening to everything around me, and that really adds to like my own musical journey, which I love because I get bored of music very, very fast. As someone who's been into music for like 8 years, almost going on to like 9-10 years soon, like I'm always searching for something new. So yeah, like I'd say that's where my indie pop kind of things came from, because I got quite into pop, like Dua Lipa, the new album, like Ezra's recent album. Like they are really like albums that I just listen to on repeat. 1975 as well, that's on repeat in my ears like 24/7.
Well, you've answered my next question for me. I was going to ask, what kind of new artists are you listening to at the moment? Any new artists that you recommend?
So it kind of, I was very lucky to get to know them, like just as they were starting to play festivals. Seagulls are my favourite band, I'd have to say, alongside the 1975. But in terms of new artists, there's so many about these days that I just kind of listen to all of them. I really enjoy some of the stuff like very, very close to me and very close to home in Leeds, like Quebi Davila. Wow, like absolutely love his music. That's great for like driving to, in my opinion. The Curves just released a new single yesterday, I think it is. I'm going to see them tonight at Royal Park, which I'm quite excited for. Well, by the time it's come out, it'll probably be a few days ago or whatever. No, who else? Cammy Brown, Sound of Modesty. Samuel Pickett's doing some great stuff. There's just so much going on in Leeds at the moment. Especially a lot of people on my course are constantly releasing music and keeping me on my toes. So yeah, honestly, if you want to listen to some new music, just get yourself to a venue in Leeds and you'll hear something that you'll like, and you'll just develop it from there.
Especially because in Leeds you're surrounded by so much music and so many venues. Like you can go to a new gig every night, and it's great. And especially because you're studying at LCOM, well, Leeds Conservatoire. How is that? How is doing the study side of a musician? How has that helped you?
So it was something that after college I was a bit skeptical about going into songwriting, and kind of not being taught how to write a song, but being taught what goes into a good song. I'd like, if you're that person where I was just questioning it, the best thing I could say is just go for it. Like the university experience in terms of music isn't necessarily about what you get taught. It's about who you meet, those connections that you get on with, those little bits that you take away from those lectures. It's not about, I mean, personally, I I can't say that I'm that student who sits there with a notebook like this, like copying down from the board or anything, because not only do I not learn like that, I just never have been that kind of person. But I'll just take away one big thing from each lecture. Like one of the biggest things I took away was in a one-to-one, my tutor, like he told me to listen to the song Crossfire by Brandon Flowers, and that really set a new standard of songwriting for me. That's like the best song ever in my opinion. Yeah.
Oh, and the other day you did a gig.
Yes.
So how was it?
Oh, it was cracking, to be honest. Yeah, I think it might be on record as my favourite gig ever.
Oh, brilliant.
So I supported Sound of Modesty alongside Cammy Brown, and Cammy never fails to make me smile. Yeah, Cammy's just such a lovely guy, and he's hilarious as well. He is just funny. And then Sound of Modesty, my first time seeing them live. I've heard all the recorded stuff, obviously, with them being in my uni. And seeing them live was a whole new experience. Yeah, they really brought that sound to life, and yeah, they got a really nice, unique sound to them. I think they can go quite far. Them, yeah.
What's your favourite thing about live performance?
Oh, yeah, that connection to the crowd and the connection to the people on stage with me as well. I quite like. There's a certain part of a song on my set list where we go into halftime. So we start going 1, 2, 3, 4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Kind of like goes into halftime, and that bit, the energy just goes up and up and up and up and up, and then it drops. And like I get the honor of doing a solo in there, which is great. And that feeling you just can't replicate with anything else in this world. Like, no night out can match that, unfortunately. That 10 seconds, that 10 seconds is going to live with me for like forever, I reckon. Like, there's going to be times in my life where I'm going to be feeling a bit low or something, and I might even be annoyed at a song that I'm writing or something. I'm like, right, I'm not going to finish it. I am going to finish it because I want to do it live, so I get those extra 10 seconds again. So yeah, the idea of live performance and connection is unreal, because I've been looking at some stuff recently, like on the back of one of my lectures, and it's kind of like about how like in Cuba and like places like that, they do spiritual rituals which are heavily involved with music, and you'll have one person leading and you'll have the rest of a crowd kind of like doing a call and response kind of thing. And I very much feel like the leader in that situation with being the front man. And as someone like grown up a bit shy, I wasn't really used to that. So it's nice to be in that situation where I can be recognised and I can have that identity and personality and sense of being and connection, and feel, I don't know, just feel good in that, because there's not many things in life where you can just be like, yeah, I feel good 100% about this. Even if like on stage you're a bit nervous or a bit anxious, that you just settle into it, I find.
Especially because you have a very impressive stage presence. Like, how have you come from this very shy character to being as confident as you seem on stage?
To be honest, I've just done a lot of gigs. I've done a lot of gigs where I've played to about 2,000 people just playing guitar with Walter Trout, and I've done gigs where I've been playing to one guy sat at a bar with his dog, and then the person who owns the bar as well, and you'll just be singing Oasis because they'd be like, do you know Wonderwall? And you're like, yeah mate, I do actually.
It's a given, isn't it?
Yeah, so just doing a lot of gigs, just doing a lot of different stuff as well. I play guitar for a few bands. I do my own stuff. I've done my own stuff, kind of like doing covers and being that artist in the back of a bar where no one really cares what you're playing. They just want a bit of background music. Like, even the person who hired you don't care as long as no one complains.
Yeah.
And then going on stage with my own songs, that's a big step to go from being that person that no one really cares about to everyone looking at you. And the more you do it, the more confident you get, I find. And I think I'm still definitely on that journey, and I can't wait to see where that journey takes me.
That's really good. So you mentioned earlier that you do you write your songs, you do your own kind of playing. What equipment am I seeing here? What's your favourite guitars? What bits do you use, basically?
Yeah, so I've got my acoustic guitar here, just off camera. So that's here. This is just a Faith Neptune Blood Moon. I've had this guitar since I was about 17 once again, which is when I heavily got into writing songs. This guitar has seen a lot of songs, and it's seen a lot of places and a lot of gigs. I reckon I've probably done about somewhere between 50 and 100 gigs on this guitar alone, and probably wrote about more than 100 songs on this guitar, I reckon. And this can be a very much a good starting point for writing songs for me, just because I like that idea of just getting the basics down first sometimes, where a lot of artists can kind of just go straight into the studio and get on a synthesizer, get a drum beat going, and I can do that as well, and I enjoy doing that, but I kind of like to start with the basics, Then from there, I'll take a song over to Logic, where in the background here, I've got one which I did a few days ago called Girls Like You, which is hopefully going to be my next single. And just kind of develop the sound a little bit more. I do that by going into my audio interface here, programming drums on my MIDI keyboard. Behind me, I've got a few guitar pedals, which I have set up, which I also use live, so I can carry that studio sound to live as well, which is like, some people like to change it, some people like to keep it the same. I like somewhere in the middle. I like to have that live aspect. I love also doing stuff on speakers and just having that openness to the sound, but in the case where it's 2 a.m. whilst it's the normal time for me doing writing, I do have headphones down here, which my granddad got me for my 13th birthday or something along those lines. I'm surprised they're still working. But yeah, that's very much how I go about my equipment whilst I'm writing. I do like kind of pink light as well. Just something about mood lighting is very important to me.
Pink has become your signature colour.
Yes, it has. I just like the colour quite a lot, to be fair. I wore pink joggers on stage at the Lending Room the other day. Some people were sceptical, some people loved them. Personally, I don't care, because I love them.
Can we expect pink merch anytime soon?
I would love to see some more pink merch. I would love to see some merch, to be honest. Some t-shirts could be in the works soon. Hint, hint. So yeah, for my live equipment, I use this guitar, which is my guitar that I built when I was 16. A guy called Max Cotton helped me build this. Got a lot of the parts from All Parts and a few stuff from Dawson's. He supplied a few things, like the bridge and that, I believe. But he just has stock of guitar parts, because he does so much work on guitars and everything like that. And I'd say it's my main guitar whilst I've been gigging. I used a different guitar the other night for Lending Rooms. I used my Danny Bryant Fret King, kind of nice little nod to my blues roots there, which I think is why I liked using guitar so much, that guitar so much at that gig, because it's kind of like a reminder of where I came from, to be honest. Yeah. And then the only difference between recording here and sending that guitar through the pedals and into the system is I go through the pedals into an amp, where I use my Fender Deluxe. And when it comes to guitar stuff and like sound and everything like that, I think the phrase like, keep it simple, stupid. And like, you don't need 2 guitar amps, you don't need 2 pedal boards, you just need the bare minimum to get what you want. And that also applies for songwriting, I believe. Like, if you can get what you want in as little as possible and get that message across, then that's going to hit home a lot better than anything else.
Yeah, if you know, he has a million guitars.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of guitars here.
No.
So obviously you write your own songs.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about how you decide on the topics that you write, how you come up with the lyrics, what your process is.
So it's changed a lot over the years, and I'm now in a place where I'll take inspiration, and the way that I'll go write a song from one to another will just be a different form of technique. I very much sometimes will just sit down with an acoustic guitar and get those basics down, like I was saying before. And I'd say that's how I write about 90% of the time. Sometimes I'll just run into a friend in uni like I did with Eleanor the other week, and we'll just write a song in 30 minutes on piano together. And I love those experiences of songwriting. Sometimes I'll go straight to my Mac and try and get a drum beat to inspire me. But I have my phone with, like, it's got, in my notes section, it's got a page called Ideas and then a love heart after it.
Aww.
I'm on to my second one of them now, I believe, because I would be scrolling for half an hour to get to the bottom of it.
Gosh.
So I'll pull an idea out of there. From there, I have this songwriting book, which is just plain black book off Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's from. It's always got a pencil in there, because for me, I don't have to get a book and a pencil, because that's double the work.
Yeah.
That's double the time to get writing. And I'll try and figure out some chords. I'll try and figure out a bit of a melody from there, and then I'll get that idea from my notes on my phone, take it over to the notebook. And one thing I've started, which is very recent, I've only done this for the past 3-4 songs, is I'll write down the words, this song is about it, ... and then I'll write what that song is going to be about. I'll write what emotions that expresses, what I want people to necessarily feel. But I like it when people find their own feelings in my songs, and I'll just try and form something from there out of that. Lyrics are something that are quite personal to a lot of people, I find, and I try not to be too personal with my lyrics, because I like people to relate to it. Like, I don't want to sing the line, and then I went to the shop and I got myself a Pepsi and a Freddo, and it was £1.67, because, like, everyone's gonna have a different shop, aren't they? Like, no one's gonna be the exact same £1.67, and no one's gonna get the exact same Freddo Pepsi combo that I'm going for. So you kind of just want to,
I mean, pretty good combo that, though.
It is a good combo. Yeah, it's a very good combo. So it's just kind of about finding something that I connect to, but also other people can connect to. And that's what I'll do about songwriting as well, is that be able to say, yeah, this is how I felt on this day. Because more than likely, if you felt like that, someone else in this world is also going to feel like that. Not necessarily at the same moment in time, not necessarily the exact same way, but they're going to have that rough kind of, like, emotion as well. And giving people a safe place to listen to that and feel that emotion is a great thing about music, I believe.
Yeah.
So I try and write lyrics along those lines, and melody is something very important to me, because I'll sit down with a melody for way too long, in my opinion. And I'll think about how notes clash, what notes sound beautiful. Do I want it to sound beautiful? Do I want it to clash? I'll try and form melodies around the lyrics, and then I'll just develop it from there. Yeah, just kind of getting that, know what you're writing about is the best piece of advice for songwriting, I reckon.
Yeah. It's always great when you've got this song and it hits you right in your feels.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you listen to your playlist at 3 a.m. and you're crying for no reason.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah. There's only one song that's ever made me cry, and it was that Random Flowers song.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing it's the song you hold high then, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the song. That is the song for that reason.
Do you feel like music's a bit therapeutic then for you, your writing and stuff? Does it help you process your emotions quite a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Like, growing up in an all boys school, I hate to use the words toxic masculinity, but no one says, yeah, I feel happy, yeah, I feel sad, oh, I'm a bit scared for this test. Because as a guy, especially when you're surrounded by lots of other guys, you want to try and come across the strongest, whether that's mentally, physically, or with your ambitions or your goals. So no one actually really says how they feel, which is not a good thing for guys, especially in all boys school. So for me, it was kind of that way of finding how I feel and how to express that in a safe space. I always used to go into my music rooms, Mr. Wells and Mr. Cross at West Hill.
Shout out to them.
Massive shout out to them. I won't be here to tell you about it. And yeah, I'll just kind of bury myself in a guitar for the entire break time and try and just write guitar lines that I think sounded nice. Or if I was feeling a bit angry or a bit annoyed at someone, I'd probably write something a bit heavier. And that was just my way of processing feelings and emotions, to be honest.
I feel like every musician has that very similar experience of sitting in the music room at break time and lunchtime, and getting really close with the music teachers, and just being able to pour your heart out in a musical way.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it really annoys me, like, when the government are talking about cutting funds for arts. Like, yeah. The issues that it's going to create in terms of budget when people don't have that outlet is going to be a lot worse than what they're spending on music. So I don't know why they can't realize this. Like, art and music is such a key part to growing up and finding out who you are and what you like. Yeah.
Especially because through school, a lot of the way people are first introduced to instruments and stuff is through school. Like I was on a scheme in my school that got us free piano lessons and free instrument lessons for people who couldn't normally get them.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So that was how I was introduced to a lot of my music, and especially with funding being cut and stuff, it's really going to take away from a lot of these chances that we've had, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, it's dreadful, to be honest. Yeah.
Awful. Come on, government.
Come on, Bojo.
So, what's the first song you've ever written? Released or unreleased?
So unreleased was just a simple A minor to an E minor. I copied a YouTube song, copied the melody, and just changed the lyrics, basically. Released, it was Fallen Tower, which people today still love. I massively hate. I'm sick of the song live. I'm sick of it recorded. I'm probably going to take it off Spotify soon. I'm sorry if you like that song. But yeah, the thing that I do like about Fallen Tower is that I released that song because I found I had a bit of a voice in that. And then ever since then, I've just kind of been developing that voice a little bit more every single time I write a song. And then especially more when you release a song, because you go through that whole studio process and you really try and get it sonically where you want it to be. I think that's a massive part of finding your voice.
Yeah.
And I think with my recent single, Let You Go, that's... I can comfortably say this is Oliver Vawdrey now. Yeah.
That must be great. Tell me a bit about your new song.
Yeah, so Let You Go came out in January of this year, 2022, and...
Gosh, it's 2022.
It is 2022. It's scary, that.
Yeah.
And, like, that song's about connection between, like, people, and I wrote it probably about May of 2021. So it was kind of in that weird part of lockdown where it was a lockdown, it wasn't a lockdown. Go to work if you can go to work, but stay at home. It was one of those times, weren't it? So everyone was just craving seeing their mates.
Yeah.
And just spending time with other people, because we went a year without it, really. Like, was never back to normal, and in a way now we're still not back to normal. So that song's about connecting with people and the importance of it. And the line, I should never let you go, is very much addressing that. Like, once you got that connection, hold on to that connection. Yeah.
That's so powerful, man.
Cheers, thank you.
Good. How was being a musician during lockdown? Because I know a lot of people, it really affected their momentum and their careers.
Yeah.
But we also saw numbers of people listening to music and listening to podcasts at a greater amount than ever before. So
yeah, so I released, I think it was about May of 2021. No, 2020, when we first went into the lockdown. I released my single Have You Had Enough? And like, I released that song straight away. Like, I didn't really think too much about the cover art. I didn't think about promoting it too much. I just wanted that song out for people to listen to. Because I know myself, Seagulls were releasing a lot of music at that time, and I'd go on a run, and I'd just have to have that in my ears and have something new. Because the environment around you wasn't necessarily new. So just having that something that is fresh that people can connect with, I released that straight away just so people could have that, in the hopes that they could find something in that, because that was very important for me as a person outside of being an artist. Yeah, I really struggled to write during lockdown. A lot of people around me were the same, I found, so I didn't necessarily feel too bad about it. If anything, it just gave me a lot of fuel for the fire afterwards.
Yeah.
And even until like this time last year, in January last year, whilst I was back in uni, I was doing assignments. I still found it hard to write because I weren't going out and partying. I weren't seeing people. I was just good. I was just like waking up at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, going to the gym at midnight, which I still do. So yeah, I found it quite hard, to be honest.
I know a lot of people found music quite therapeutic during lockdown and that kind of stuff. It's how a lot of us very much kept sane. Oop, there we go. Come on. There we go. Wait. Brilliant. Okay, we'll keep going. I know it's how a lot of us kept sane and that kind of stuff. So, and especially to be releasing songs during lockdown and
definitely,
and all that kind of stuff. Especially because studio space was limited. A lot of studios were shut for a long time. So everybody was very much relying on their home stuff, weren't they? Yeah,
I was quite thankful to have the setup, which I have, but it was very much like neglected for a very long time because I wouldn't want to be in my room. Like, and if I was in my room, I just wanted to be in that room for the minimum amount of time possible.
Yeah.
So I used to wake up, lie in bed for whatever amount of time I used to, and I'd just walk out that room and wouldn't walk back into it until about 3 p.m. No, not 3 a.m. when I was trying to go to sleep, because I spent enough time in my room. Like, I used to write in the living room in my flat in Mill Street. Just 'cause it's a different environment. Like, just take my acoustic guitar there after everyone's gone to bed. It was just nicer.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, lockdown was hard, wasn't it?
Yeah. What I'm personally loving though is seeing how everyone's like coming back from lockdown. Like, everyone's gigging, everyone's trying to do something, everyone's showing how they were in that time. So many great songs that came out of it. So a blessing in disguise in some ways, I believe.
So unfortunately, this interview is coming to an end.
It's been great, though.
Is there any musicians that you want to shout out? Any projects you want to shout out?
Wow, yes. So, I'd like to say a shout out to Cammy Brown, to Sound of Modesty, who I did the recent gig with. In my band, I have Joshua Hawkins-Farrell on drums. I have Harvey Brown on bass, who plays bass with the Curves as well. Who releasing new music at the moment. They're playing a gig tonight, which I'm going to go to, which I'm quite excited to go to. And then Samuel Pickett on trumpet for me. He's also in too many bands lists. He's doing some great stuff.
If there's a band, he'll be in it.
Yes. If you need a trumpet player, just message him. And like, he's doing some great stuff on his own. He's got a bunch of bands of himself. He's doing some great work with Quebi Davila as well, like 145 duo. And like, Quebi's also releasing some insane music. I'm really enjoying the music that he's doing at the moment. Who else? Wow, who else?
Put you on the spot.
Rowan Young. Oh, I love his music. Like, it's just great to see all these people around me doing some great music, and it's a real pleasure to bring it all together with a project that I'm part of called Flight 86.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that project because we've had Rowan, we've had Cammy, we've had Bronya, we've had Loxy. Like, some of my closest friends have been on, and we've just been having a good night with it as well. And we release some great content around that. We do some covers. We release them onto YouTube. We've also started a podcast recently, which Rowan Young and Cammy have been our first ones. People seem to love them as well. Like, I really enjoy doing them personally myself.
It's great to have a chance to sit down and actually talk to people about their work and stuff.
Definitely. There's just so much going on in Leeds, honestly. Right now, if you're looking for new music, Leeds is a place, I think. Just so much different types of music, and everyone's just giving it 110%, to be honest, keeping me on my toes. Making me work harder.
So where can people find you?
So if you just search my name into absolutely any platform, Oliver Vawdrey. I've got the same handle, Oliver Vawdrey, on everything, whether it's TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, or Facebook, YouTube. And if you don't know how to spell my name, even though it's probably going to be in the description of this, it's just Oliver and then VAW, and I'll come up. Perks is having a unique last name, so I thank my dad and his dad's dad for that one, and everyone who keeps on going down that line.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and being the first guest.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.